Welcome to this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live, the show which ensures that you profit from your time spent here with experts, either through their industry insights, information, or simply learning from them. And today we have with us Susanna Kenyon Muir. She is a holistic life and career coach, and she helps mid-career corporate professionals to create fulfilling and thriving lives. And we learn from her practical tools and powerful insights on how to manifest your ideal life, overcome limiting beliefs, and create a purpose-driven career. Welcome to the show, Susanna.
Thank you. Thank you, Ajay. It's so lovely to be here.
You are welcome. Welcome to the show. Welcome to India in this online form, Susanna. And I'm sure not just in India, but a lot of people across the globe will benefit from what we are going to talk right now. We'll talk about how one can align their career with their soul. We'll talk about all this. But before that, let's talk a bit about your journey, your background, so that people know who they are listening to.
Absolutely. Well, it's actually funny because I grew up in Singapore and my parents actually moved to India when I was 13 and spent 3.5 years there. So I've spent quite a bit of time in India. My parents lived in Mumbai. My dad was in banking, and like I said, I grew up in Singapore. So I spent 20 years there on and off. I was born there. And my career started in Australia. I'm English and German. I sound like I'm American, which makes no sense. But I started my career in Australia. And to cut a long story short, I spent 17 years working in tech across the globe, from Australia, Singapore, and the UK. And I always had a curiosity from an early age around human dynamics and why people are the way they are. And this started from me being in boarding school and being a little bit of an awkward child and being curious, like what made certain children and kids popular and others not. And so this curiosity about why people are the way they are has carried through my entire life. And when I was in Australia in my mid-20s working in tech, I was curious about my bigger purpose, and that curiosity carried through. And I ended up studying when I moved to London. I came across my first coach, and I ended up studying NLP and coaching. And the deeper I got into the work, the more I enjoyed it. And I started coaching people when I was working at Salesforce, where I spent 4 years, and then 2.5 years ago, I went full time into coaching, and now this is what I do. So yeah,
Wonderful.
That's a bit of my story.
Absolutely, absolutely, Susanna. So you have also, you talk about something that people want in their life, something that they would love to do, to go for that. In your own life, you have gone through a lot of different changes. Moving countries, changing roles, career, and being an entrepreneur and its challenges and other personal struggles. So I want to understand from, does today's life allow us this whole freedom, that whole capacity to create a life that we want? Life takes us in different places. When did you come to know, okay, this is the time to take your life into your own hands and not just leave it to the hands of situations and jobs and other things? Help us understand so that people can understand in their own lives. Try to do whatever is possible wherever they are.
Yeah. So I'll answer the last question and then the first one second. When did I decided to take the leap of faith 2.5 years ago. And it coincided with a few things. My mom had just passed away. I had just crossed another decade, and I had done quite a lot of inner work on myself to understand what my passions, desires, and what was important to me. And I had gotten to a point in my tech career where it didn't excite me anymore. So that's when I went full time. To answer your question, do I believe people can? Yes, I think we are all the creators of our lives. We all can create a life that we desire based on what is important to us. And I think there are two categories that I typically encounter when I speak to people. And a big reason why I got into coaching is because I kept having these conversations around either I hate my job, but I don't know what I want to do, or I know what I want to do. I want to go set up my own business. I want to be a consultant. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to travel the world, but I don't have the time. I don't have the resources. I'm too old. What will people think of me? And so these two buckets are typically what I encounter. But I really believe you can, and even from a scientific perspective, you can have anything that you want, but it's knowing what that is and removing any fears or limiting beliefs.
Absolutely. And how can one do that? Because there it is it is one thing knowing that okay, it can be done, but then how can one do it? What are your what clients do you have, and what problems do they come to you for, so that people can know, okay, from the ground this is how you help them, what
Mhm.
is through their problems.
Yeah. So I mostly work with mid-career professionals, typically someone who has been in the corporate industry for 10, 15, 20 years, that has had the successes, is a high achiever, has the accolades, but gets to a point where they're like, I'm burned out. I don't love what I do. There has to be something more fulfilling out there. And before I just get stuck in the rat race of doing the same thing again and again, and feeling this way of, you know, burnt out and not fulfilled, let me, you know, get that clarity of what I do want to do, and also work through any limiting beliefs. So to answer your question, clarity is really important. And now this might sound very simplistic, but it's like getting into a car or maybe baking a cake. You have to know what the ingredients are, or you have to know where you're going. Otherwise, you might end up completely somewhere random and unintended, which is what happens to a lot of people in their lives. So the clarity is really important, and doing the inner work. What I would say is it's a lot about figuring out who you are, your values, your passions, your strengths, your desires, but also what you want to create in your life. Like, what does life look like to you? And being intentional about family, where you live, financial situation, what freedom means to you, your health. So all of that is so important. And that's why I look at things holistically, from not just career, but other parts of your life, but also your mind, body, and your spirit. So that's the clarity part. In terms of limiting beliefs, we all have limiting beliefs. We all have things that are etched, imprinted into our subconscious mind, typically from an early age, because that's when your brain is most susceptible and malleable, and it's like a sponge. As children, up until the age of 12, we really absorb everything that we see in front of us. Now, what that means is that those beliefs and patterns that you see at an early age end up becoming a lot of our patterns later in life. Now, this doesn't mean that's, a death sentence or you can't change them, but doing the work to become aware of what those limiting beliefs are allows you to then be able to change them, to rewire them, and to remove any subconscious beliefs from your body. Because and this is the thing, this is what I've discovered, and from a scientific perspective, which is so fascinating to me, is, we hold on to a lot of the emotions in our body based on things that have happened to us. Could be trauma, but it could just be someone said something to you at some point. So it's important to be able to remove those emotions, and somatic healing, somatic practices in order to remove that energy from you is important. And that's the other holistic part that I mention. And also to rewire your brain to create new beliefs. So if you believe you are too old, or you believe you cannot do something, or you believe that you will never amount to something, and a lot of the times these are negative thoughts that we have that we're not even consciously aware of. We just say them to ourselves without consciously being aware. But you can reprogram that to create to a more empowered belief that you can. And this is take conscious work. It takes a lot of subconscious work and practicing through meditation, hypnosis. I mean, there are many other practices, but if you want a new outcome and a new reality, then it takes practice and doing that work consistently.
Absolutely. So all this, almost borders on spirituality
Mhm.
and career goals. How do you, integrate both these two things in today's time?
Mm.
Is everyone open to it? And if yes or no, how do you get it done? No, it means no. But then you still need to address the problem. If yes, then how do you? Because many people are not of spiritual nature. Many a times they are
Mm.
so much into the rat race that they don't care about anything, and suddenly they want to have to know, get all that clarity and everything, purpose and everything for themselves. They may come to
Mhm.
you, but then they have a long distance to walk actually on the ground.
Yes. So, I mean, how much time do we have? I could talk about this for hours, but to keep it short, spirituality means so many different things to different people. What I like about I like the bridge between science and spirituality, where scientifically, from the likes of Dr. Joe Dispenza and so forth, being able to understand how your energy impacts your reality, how you think, act, and feel, how you, the thoughts that you have, the intentions that you have, all of this, impacts your reality. And so, spirituality, like I said, can mean so many different things. And I think more people are open to consciousness. What does consciousness mean? What does being the creator of your life mean? And, a lot of the clients that I work with are becoming more conscious and are more inclined to spirituality. I would say it's not, I would never enforce that on anyone. It's my I enjoy inspiring people. I enjoy educating people through the content that I write and doing talks like this. But like any coach, you can't. It has to be an opt-in. The client has to want to change themselves, right? But to answer your question, I think a lot more people, especially in corporate, are open to conscious practices, spirituality, and understanding the science behind how their thoughts, feelings, and actions, impact their reality and how they can change it too. So yeah.
Absolutely. You talk about, manifestation a lot. Every second person talks about manifestation as if, it's a magic wand, or you just tell a few things and the universe will come and hand it over to you in a platter. Does it work that way? You talk about manifestation techniques and, to achieve
Mm.
life and career goals. If it is so easy, why to go through that difficult process of, uh, removing limiting beliefs and everything? You just go for manifestation techniques and then get everything in your life whenever you want on demand. How, tell us about this manifestation and all these things. I mean, is
This
it so
is
simple? Is it that easy? I want to understand. I also don't want to work hard. I will just take the easy route.
Okay, I love this question. And, if it was so easy, then everyone would be manifesting all the time. And the thing is, we are always manifesting. But here is the trick: you're manifesting from your subconscious beliefs. And your subconscious is 95% of your programming and how you operate, like day to day. Like it's like your brain is on autopilot. But as I mentioned earlier, our subconscious is programmed from beliefs that we've created from early childhood and throughout the years. So if you are not aware of the thoughts and feelings that you have, you are manifesting from that state. So that is why it is so important, A, to know what you're intending and how you are thinking and feeling. Because if you, let's say, you want the dream job, or you want, let's say, the house, and but your subconscious belief doesn't believe you are worthy, doesn't believe you'll ever surmount to anything, doesn't believe that you deserve it, you won't get it. That's just how the science works behind it. So it's really important to, yes, know what you're putting out there and your intentions. And with intention, work. If you are interested in getting more into this, read The Intention Experiment. It's an amazing book by Lynn McTaggart on the power of setting intentions. Now, you can set powerful intentions, but if your energy and your belief system doesn't support that intention, it will never happen. So manifestation, if I was to codify it, is having a clear intention, an elevated emotion and belief that you can have that. And then the final part, and this is the part that sometimes people miss, is surrendering. And surrendering, sometimes people are like, what does that mean? Like, but I want it. And then they think about it all the time. But the problem with that is you then push that reality away from you. So energetically, it's knowing what you want, feeling that you deserve it, and practicing this every day, and then letting it go and not expecting how it's going to happen, but just sit in the belief that it will happen in an unexpected way.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Susanna, let people decide if they want to go this way or there is another way. Your magnetic success method. Let's learn about
Mhm.
that. What is this magnetic success method? How people can take the help of this method?
Yeah, so I created the magnetic success method because I wanted to help corporate professionals and people in the middle of their career, in the middle of their life, to create intentional lives and lives that they love, lives that are aligned to who they are. And it follows a 6-step method, which is centered on clarity. So the first pillar is clarity, and that's broken into 3 steps: reflection, purpose and desires, who am I, and really getting clear on who you are and what you want to create. So you're putting that intention out with clarity and alignment. And then working through step 4 is working through what could be holding you back. And this comes down to the limiting beliefs, fears, doubts. And then step 5 is energetics and the mindset around manifesting. And this is putting the right energy out there, getting clear on the thoughts and beliefs that you have. And the final part is a roadmap to success. So this is taking aligned action and creating goals and habits that support what you desire. So that to me is magnetism, and doing it also from a place of balancing feminine and masculine energy. So what that means is it's like the yin and the yang. It's not pushing, 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 but also allowing yourself to receive and be in that feminine energy of receivership and intuition and letting things flow. So that's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. There's much to learn about all these things from you, Susanna, and I'm sure a lot of people would want to connect with you. A lot of mid-career, especially professionals, would like to connect with you, learn all about this, learn about your magnetic success method. What is the best way for them to do so?
So I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn. I also have a website. It's Coaching by Susanna. The Susanna is Susanna, like my name here. Also on LinkedIn, Susanna Kenyon Muir. Also on YouTube, it's all Coaching by Susanna. So you can connect with me there. I love to connect over calls. So if anyone wants to book in a call with me, then I'd be happy to do so.
Wonderful. With this, it's a wrap on this very special edition of the KJ Masterclass Live. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.